Hi students, I am Rihanna. In this subject, project formulation and appraisal, we have completed all the portions and I have discussed almost all the important questions which may be asked in university examination, and I have given you a brief description on the scheme of answering all the questions in part A and part B for this project formulation and appraisal from module 1 to module 4. The notes for all the 4 modules is given to you, and now we are moving to the revision part. As a part of revision, here I am going to discuss the first module, that is project formulation. And today our topic of discussion is capital investments. Capital investments. What is a capital investment? The capital investments refers to funds invested in a firm or enterprise for the purpose of furthering its business objectives. In order to achieve the business objectives, some amount of funds is invested in firms or enterprises. Such an investment is known as the capital investment. The capital investment may also refer to a firm's acquisition of capital assets or fixed assets such as manufacturing plants and machinery. This is expected to be productive for a period of many years. So, the capital investments means the initial capital which is invested to a firm and which is used for purchasing the fixed assets such as manufacturing plants and machinery, etc. Now, what are the sources of capital investment? There are many sources for acquiring this capital investment for a particular organization or a company. Some of the sources of capital investment include: first one, equity investors; second one, banks; third one, financial institutions; fourth one, venture capital. So these are some of the important sources from which we can acquire the capital investment. It includes equity investors, banks, financial institutions, venture capital. Now, what are the importances of capital investments? The capital investment is important because of the following nature, such as it has long-term effects, it is irreversible in nature, and it has a nature of substantial outlays. So these are the three important characteristics of capital investments. These are the importances or advantages of the capital investment. They are: the capital investment possesses a long-term effect on the project of the organization, and it has a irreversible nature, and it has substantial outlays. So these are the three important advantages of capital investments. Next is the disadvantages or difficulties which is associated with the capital investments. The difficulties which associated with a capital investment includes: first one, measurement problems. It is difficult to measure the capital investment. Second one is the uncertainty. Third one, temporal spread. So, the difficulties associated with a capital investment are temporal spread, uncertainty, and measurement problems. Next is the types of capital investments. Capital investments are classified based on various criteria. It is classified, general classification is there, basic classification is there, and that capital investment is classified based on the planning and controlling of a particular organization. So here we are going to discuss the types of capital investment. First classification is the general classification. Generally, the capital investment is classified as physical assets. Physical assets means they are tangible investments like land, buildings, plants, machineries, etc. So the tangible investments like land, building, plants, machineries, etc. are termed as physical assets. Second one is monetary assets. It includes the financial claims against some parties such as deposits, bonds and equity shares. So the monetary assets usually includes deposits, bonds and equity shares. Next is the intangible assets. The intangible assets are not in the form of physical assets or financial claims. So there are generally three classifications for the capital investment. They are physical assets, monetary assets and intangible assets. Next is the classification of capital investment. That is the basic classification for capital investment. Basically, it is classified as strategic investments and tactical investments. Strategic investments means it is one that has a significant impact on the decision of the firm. And tactical investment is meant to implement a current strategy as efficiently or as profitably as possible. So there are two basic classifications for capital investments. They are strategic investments and tactical investments. Next is the classification of capital investments based on the planning and controlling process of organizations. Based on the planning and controlling process of various organizations, the capital investments are classified as mandatory investment, replacement investment, expansion investment, diversification investment, and research and development investment. So mandatory investment means the investment which is used for the purpose of purchasing or maintaining the mandatory items in an organization. Replacement investments means the investments associated with the replacements of machinery, equipment, etc. Expansion investments means the investment which is used for the purpose of expanding the current facilities, which includes the expansion of plant capacity, etc. And fourth one, the diversification investments. It means the investments which is associated with the purpose of diversification for maintaining diversity. And the fifth type of investment is R&D investment. R&D investment means the investment which is provided for the purpose of research and development. So there are 5 types of capital investments are associated on the basis of planning and controlling process of a particular organization. They are mandatory investments, replacement investments, expansion investments, diversification investments, and research and development investments. And the last one is miscellaneous investment, which includes the investment which covers the miscellaneous items. Now we have to study a new topic, that is project ideas. During the conceptual stage in a project life cycle, there exists the generation of project idea and screening of project idea and scouting of project idea. Now we are going to study the generation of project ideas. The various stages involved in the generation of project ideas are: first one, analyze the performance of existing industries. Second step is to examine the inputs and outputs of these industries. Examine the imports and exports of these industries. Study plan, outlays and government guidelines. Look at the suggestions of financial institutions and developmental agencies. Thereafter, investigate the local materials and resources available, and then analyze the economic and social trends, and then study the new technological developments. After that, draw clues from consumption abroad. Next, explore the possibility of revising sick units and identifying the unfulfilled psychological needs. So these are the different stages associated with the generation of project ideas. And the last one is attend trade fairs and stimulate creativity for generating new ideas. So these are the different stages involved in the generation of project ideas. There are 12 different stages are involved in the generation of project ideas. Next is the screening of project ideas. The screening of project idea is usually done during the initial stage or the conceptual stage. So many ideas may come. From all the ideas, we are selecting a particular project idea. For that purpose, we are terming as screening. So, screening of project ideas. The various stages or the steps involved in the screening of project ideas are: first one, compatibility or suitability with the promoter of the project, consistency with governmental priorities, availability of inputs for the particular project, adequacy of market, reasonableness of cost, acceptability of risk level, etc. are the various stages involved in the screening of a project. So today we have studied about the capital investments, types of capital investments, its importance and difficulties. It is an important portion which may be asked as a part question or B part question. It is very important. This capital investment is very important. And we have also covered the generation and screening of project ideas, which is usually asked in university questions for 5 marks or 7.5 marks or 10 marks. So study this portion very well. So both the topics today we discussed are important. So give emphasis on your studies for these particular topics in module 1. Okay, thank you. Stay safe.